What's going on, everybody? Well, they dropped all the nominations for the 2017 Academy Awards today. I'm not going to give a prediction video. I'll probably do that in the future because there's still a lot of movies on these lists that I have not seen yet, and I will get caught up on those before I do a prediction. Now, I'm going to go through most of the nominees really quickly, give my opinions if anything got snubbed, something that doesn't deserve to be there, just quick little opinions, and then I'm going to talk a little bit about the Oscars. So, let's start off. Visual effects, you got Deepwater Horizon, Doctor Strange, Jungle Book, Kubo and Two Strings, Rogue One, A Star Wars Story. That is going to be a hard category this year because not only was the Jungle Book probably one of the most technologically, if not the most technologically advanced movies ever, but Doctor Strange and Rogue One were both absolutely incredible with their visual effects. Even though I'm not a big fan of Doctor Strange, I said that in my review, this should be nominated. I'm glad it is. Kubo and the Two Strings, I think that deserves to win animation. We'll get to that in just a minute, but they also did amazing things with visual effects. Just watch a behind-the-scenes video on that, and you'll see how much work went into that movie. It's insane. Costume design, don't care. Makeup and hair, original song. I haven't seen La La Land yet, so I'm not going to talk about original song or score. Let's move on up to... Where's it at? Come on now. Original screenplay. Hell or High Water, 20th Century Woman, La La Land, The Lobster, Manchester by the Sea. I'm glad Hell or High Water is getting some notice because that was the movie that was high up on my list of favorite movies of the year, but I was worried might slip through the Oscars. At the moment, that's my pick for that one, but the other ones are... I've never seen The Lobster, but the other one... Or 20th Century Woman, but the other ones are good picks too. Adapted screenplay. Where's Deadpool? Come on now. I get tired every single year. It's going to be a little rant. Every single year they talk about how the Oscars are going to change, they're going to modernize, they're going to diversify. And yet again, we're still not getting like comic book movies or horror movies or genre films recognized, even though they deserve to be. Now look, I know I'm biased because Deadpool is my favorite movie of the year, and a lot of people wouldn't agree. Some people say Deadpool shouldn't be anywhere near the Oscars, but it's been getting a lot of buzz because of the Golden Globes. It's won a lot of other awards. That should have at least gotten a nomination. That would have been just one small little nugget of a sign right there that the Academy is starting to kind of modernize and kind of grow with the times a little bit. But, yeah, nonetheless, you've got Arrival, Fences, Hidden Figures, Lion, and Moonlight. Not a whole lot of surprises there. I don't know which one will win that one. Arrival is the only one I've seen on that list. Animated feature, Kubo and the Two Strings, Mona, My Life as a Zucchini, The Red Turtle, and Zootopia. The animated feature category is kind of a joke, let's be honest, because if it's good enough to be the best animated feature of the year, they should just include it under best film and get rid of that category. Kubo and the Two Strings, I think, deserves to win that. I haven't seen Mona yet. That was the one animated movie that kind of slipped through my fingers because that was when things got really busy with the baby and the holidays. Zootopia was my favorite animated movie of the year, but Kubo and the Two Strings was the most well-made, I guess, if that makes any sense. So Kubo should win that one. Best Director. La La Land for Damien Chazelle, Hacksaw Ridge, Mel Gibson, Moonlight, Barry Jenkins, Manchester by the Sea, Kenneth Lonergan, and Arrival for Denis Villeneuve. Now, something I never understand with the Oscars, and we'll get into that. Well, I'm going to get into it right now. Whenever we get up to Best Picture, and I'm sure we'll see this happen again this year whenever they announce the winners, I've never understood why whoever wins Best Director does not automatically win Best Picture. If you think about the definition of Best Director, that means that you put together the best movie this year as far as your direction. You've gotten the best performances out of your actors, you got the best visual effects, you told your story the best, you put everything together in a nice little puzzle, the best. How does that not translate to your film was the best of the year? Because very, very rarely do you see somebody win both categories. Something that I've always thought about. What is your thoughts? Put that in the comment section. I'm glad Mel Gibson got nominated for that. I don't think he has a chance in hell of winning, but I'm glad that he didn't get blacklisted and they just left his name off of it because he deserves every bit of recognition that he will get for Hacksaw Ridge. That was my second favorite movie of the year. Phenomenal movie. Glad he got nominated. If he did win, I'd be really happy. I don't think he's going to, but I would be really happy. Supporting actress, Viola Davis for Fences, Naomi Harris for Moonlight, Nicole Kidman for Lion, Octavia Spencer for Hidden Figures, Michelle Williams for Manchester by the Sea. That one is tough because there's something I'm going to get into whenever I'm done talking about this that's going to tie into this a little bit. Michelle Williams is the one that I hear about the most. So I'm going to assume she's going to win, but we'll get into this in a little bit. Supporting actor, wow, what a name. Mahershala Ali for Moonlight, Jeff Bridges, Hell or High Water, Lucas Hedges, Manchester by the Sea, Dev Patel for Lion, Michael Shannon for Nocturnal Animals. A lot of people were surprised Nocturnal Animals got nominated for that, so he must have been really good. That's one that, again, I missed. I have it. I get ready to watch it here in a little bit, probably sometime this week. Jeff Bridges was great, but he kind of turned in the same old Jeff Bridges performance, so I don't think he should win. I'm going to assume it's going to be the guy from Moonlight because I've been hearing a lot about his performance in that movie. Lead actress. This is the one that created a little bit of controversy, and I'm going to get into that right now, too. You got Isabelle Huppert for Elle, Ruth Negga for Loving, Natalie Portman for Jackie, Emma Stone for La La Land, Meryl Streep for Florence Foster Jenkins. Emma Stone is the clear favorite to win that. She's probably going to win that. And for all intents and purposes, she probably should win that since everybody wants her to. I haven't seen La La Land yet, so I can't really tie into that. Now, I was not the biggest fan of Arrival. That movie disappointed me. Everybody else loved it. It's on pretty much everybody's top of the year. It's so many people's number one, number twos. People are going nuts about that movie, and it's got a lot of nominations here. People are pissed that Amy Adams did not get a nomination for lead actress. And I understand why, because there's somebody on this list that should not be there. Meryl Streep. First of all, I don't know what the fuck Florence Foster Jenkins is. I don't recognize the name of that movie. I see a lot of movies and I talk about a lot of movies. I do not remember that movie ever even coming out this year, so I have no idea what the hell it is. So on one side of the argument, I guess since I haven't seen it, I can't speak too much on her performance, but this is what aggravates me about Meryl Streep and about the Academy. Why does Meryl Streep get nominated no matter what the fuck she's in? She's one of those actresses, like, not to get political, I'm not a Trump supporter, but he just got raked under the coals for saying that Meryl Streep is overrated, and everybody in Hollywood tore him a new ass. Because she's hailed as, like, the greatest actress of all time. She's like the actress version of Daniel Day-Lewis. Get your pitchforks and your torches ready, people, because Meryl Streep is overrated. Now let's talk about the definition of overrated just for a second. Just a little tangent. The definition of overrated. If I say that something or someone is overrated, does that mean that I'm automatically saying they suck, or they're horrible, or they're bad? No. The definition of overrated is that whatever level that thing or person is held at as far as their recognition, I believe that their recognition should be somewhere below that. It could be right here and it'd be overrated, or it could be down here and be overrated. So when I'm calling Meryl Streep overrated, I'm not saying she's a bad actress, because she's not. She's one of the best actresses that ever has and ever will live. But the fact that she gets nominated every single time she's in a fucking movie not only pisses me off because people get left off the list that should be nominated and should be recognized, and give somebody else the fucking torch or the baton for a little while, Meryl. But all that tells me is that they pick favorites, and they don't really give the recognition to those that deserve it. So, the fact that she got nominated for movies like this, Into the Woods, some other movies that have come out the past about 6 or 7 years, just because she's Meryl Streep, she gets on the list, is bullshit and needs to stop. And even though I do not care for the movie nearly as much as everybody else, she should have been on that list. Amy Adams should have been on that list for either Nocturnal Animals or Arrival. She was in 2 wildly critically acclaimed movies this year where she was the lead actress. Everybody raved about both of her performances. Why is she not on the list? Because there wasn't enough room, because Meryl Streep has a reserved seat. Ridiculous, but whatever. Moving on to lead actor. Casey Affleck, Manchester by the Sea. He's going to win, I think. I'll go ahead and say that now because I hear nothing but phenomenal things about what the guy did in Manchester by the Sea. Andrew Garfield, Hacksaw Ridge, totally deserved. Great first nomination. Ryan Gosling for La La Land. Viggo Mortensen for Captain Fantastic. Denzel Washington for Fences. Yeah. Casey Affleck's my pick for that. I need to see a couple of the others, but he's my pick to win. Now, Best Picture. You got Arrival, which also begs the question, why wasn't she nominated? Fences, Hacksaw Ridge, Hell or High Water, Hidden Figures, La La Land, Lion, Manchester by the Sea, Moonlight. First thoughts, I already talked about the director thing. Now I'm going to talk about something else that's a little bit controversial, and this is what I was kind of alluding to in Best Supporting Actress, which I will scroll back down while I'm talking about this. So last year we had the whole huge controversy of Oscars So White. All the nominees were white, with the exception of a few Hispanics. I believe, I forget his name, Inarritu, the director who won for Best Director on The Revenant, was a Hispanic guy. So it was just a couple of exceptions, but for the most part, it was a whitewash. Now, not to get into too much about, race wars and all that kind of stuff, my own personal opinion as a movie fan, as somebody who watched the majority of the movies that were out last year, the movies that were left off that predominantly had people of color in it, I honestly didn't think deserved to be nominated. Now, that wasn't, my opinion isn't absolute, so there was a lot of people that disagreed. That's fine. But last year we had this whole controversy. And they promised at the end of it, we're not going to be that Academy anymore. We're going to include more people of color. We're going to have more diversification. You're going to see a change next year. Now, here's the question, and I'm not even going to answer the question. I'm just going to pose the question out there. So if you are somebody who thought that controversy last year was absolutely deserved, especially if you're somebody of African American descent who was really passionate about this last year, I want your opinion on this in the comment section. Do you think that Fences and Hidden Figures deserve to be nominated for Best Picture? The reason I'm asking that is Moonlight obviously deserves to be, because I've heard nothing but incredible things about that movie. Fences, I've heard mediocre things about. Great things about Denzel's performance, which is why he's nominated. He's another guy, kind of like Meryl Streep. He'll get on there if he does a pretty good performance that year in a movie of that nature. But the movie, I've heard nothing but mediocre things about. It's pretty good. It's like a play. They're great in it. Nothing I'd watch again. Hidden Figures. I've heard basically the general opinion of that movie is very well made movie, very enjoyable, nothing earth-shattering. So kind of a strange nomination for Best Picture of the Year. My question of my reason why I'm asking that question is, do you think they deserve to be nominated, is because something that I was saying a lot last year. I'm friends with a lot of people of color. I work with a lot of people of color, very close with them. I'm cool with everybody. So I was just discussing with them to get their opinions. Like, hey, do you think this is controversial, or do you think it's overblown? What's your opinion on it? And something that I thought that I'm starting to see here is that because it was such a controversy last year, I was worried that because it was such a huge controversy, that suddenly they were just going to throw in movies of that nature with a very color-based cast, like Hidden Figures, like Fences, like Moonlight, just for the sake of throwing it in there just to eliminate that controversy. Not necessarily because they deserve to be nominated, but because they just want to throw it out there to get points. Moonlight is the exception, because I figured that was going to be on Best Picture, Best Director, all that kind of stuff. But Fences and Hidden Figures, to me, seem a little bit strange among that list of movies. Not saying that they're bad movies, because honestly I haven't seen either one of them, but the general opinion that I've gathered from basically everybody that I've heard talk about those movies is that they were, middle of the road movies. So strange that they made it on there while some other movies got left off. So what is your opinion? Put it in the comment section. I'm not posting my opinion or saying anything. I'm not even saying it to start arguments. I just want to hear what people's opinions are. If this is the change that you wanted to see from last year, or if this seems like it's going the other way and they're just throwing things on there just to get away with it, kind of like a get out of jail free card. Put your comments down below. Now, the other thing that I'm seeing here with these nominations is that this is a safe, predictable, same old, every single year Oscar list. Nothing on any of these lists, aside from the fact that Mel Gibson didn't get blacklisted, surprises me in the least. Does it surprise you? Is there any movies on here that you did not expect to be on here months ago? Because anybody who is not living under a rock knew that La La Land was going to get nominated for damn near everything. Again with Moonlight, Manchester by the Sea, and Arrival, especially visual effects and stuff like that. So nothing on this list surprises me, and this is what bothers me, which I was getting into earlier with the Deadpool rant, is that the Oscars are still the same old Oscars. The Academy likes a certain type of movie. They like, for the most part, with a few exceptions here and there, the movies that the general movie-going audience either would not go see or they would go see once and they would never watch it again. Not because they're bad movies, but because they're these long 3-hour sweeping dramatic epics with these performance-driven films that, you know, they're never going to be a part of your favorite movies list. At what point do some of those movies that are on our favorite movies list, or the movies that most people in America or the world enjoyed that year, going to show their face on the Academy Awards? Because we're getting to a point with superhero movies, with horror movies nowadays, where that gap is starting to bridge a little bit. You know, you get movies like Don't Breathe and The Conjuring, which, you know, aren't really Oscar-worthy movies, so I'm not saying they deserve to be on there, but you got movies like Deadpool or Captain America or, you know, Doctor Strange or stuff like that everybody raves about. Great story, great performances, great visual effects, great this and that, best screenplay, and they never show their face on here. Visual effects is the exception, because there's very few visually effect-driven movies of the year that are like these Oscar, like, snooty movies. But as far as Best Picture, Best Actor, Best Supporting Actor, Best Screenplay, things of that nature, when are those types of movies going to start showing in here? Not necessarily win, unless they deserve to win, but when are they going to start getting recognized? When are they going to start bridging that gap between what the Academy thinks is the best movies of the year and what the rest of the world thinks are the best movies of the year, and bring them a little bit closer? You know, obviously movies like La La Land and Manchester by the Sea and Moonlight are always pretty much going to win Best Picture, unless it's just a rough year for those dramatic type movies. But when it comes to performances, when it comes to screenplays, things of that nature, we need to start seeing a little bit more variety in here, because there are movies that are so damn good nowadays that are, you know, the typical general movie-going audience, crowd-pleasing movies. They're starting to get to that quality. And at what point do we bridge that gap? You know, I keep saying it, but at what point? Put your opinions down in the comment section. Do you think we'll ever see that type of an Academy? Or is it always going to be these 70 and 80-year-old men and women who go out and see these movies and they're best friends with Meryl Streep, so they give her an automatic chair on the seat for Best Actress? Or are we going to start seeing some 20-year-olds, some 30-year-olds, you know, some people of different diversity in the Academy, people who vote for these movies? You know, movies like last year that everybody was pissed about, like Creed, which is a very general movie-going audience pleaser, but it had incredible performances by both Michael B. Jordan and by Sylvester Stallone, and it was a great movie. It was a great dramatic movie, but it got snubbed, except for Sylvester Stallone, just because that was the best performance he's ever given in his life. So I'm tired of ranting about it. Like I said, I'll do my predictions later on. I just wanted to talk about some of the nominations, talk about some of the thoughts that I initially had, and get your guys' opinions, because I don't want to necessarily create controversy. I just want to see if the controversy is still there, if the controversy is solved after last year, or does this create a completely different version of controversy? So put all your thoughts down in the comment section below. What was your favorite movie of the year? What do you think will win? If you have seen all these movies, post some of your predictions down below, and any thoughts you have on the Oscars in general. Do you think it's outdated? Do you even care about the Oscars? Put all that down below, and let's start a trend this year. So Oscars So White was last year. Oscars So Predictable this year. Hashtag it, baby. Go ahead and make that trending. Put all this stuff down in the comment section below that you want to talk about, and we'll discuss it down below. Please like and share this video and hit that subscribe button. That way you get to come back and see me next time. But if that's not soon enough to check out some more of my videos, you can check out a few more by clicking right over there.